best ways to do that.
Sure.
But how do you take that wealth, that first generation wealth, and pass it on to that next generation? Any ideas for how a person can transfer their wealth to that next generation? Any thoughts? Because I'm sure you see that. Because
Well, the thing is that, and that's one of the things that we as blacks don't have. Where you look at the Johnson family with the Ebony and some of the other major black businesses that have thrived over years and that type thing. But I've seen situations where you'll have entrepreneur in one generation, and they try to pass it down to the second generation, and kids don't want it.
wow,
They don't really want it. Whereas it's something about us. I don't know. It's something about us that we feel that our job is more secure than a business, and so we go in and we depend on the government, or we'd rather go and work for the government or private business, and because we feel secure in that, and we make money for those businesses, or we don't make money for the government, but for some businesses for whom we work, we make money for them. They get rich, and then because our parents may have had a construction company, but I don't want to get my fingers dirty, so I'm not going to do construction. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to work for someone else and do this kind of thing. And I think that's, our fear has really led us to not accept the wealth that could be. So we'll go and we'll make a decent living, but we don't make wealth. We couldn't be considered wealthy as far as that kind of thing, because now if our parents died and they left and we went and sold our business as far as that kind of stuff, but it still doesn't generate the wealth that you could have had if you had gone in and with your education and experience and that kind of thing, that you could have increased that wealth and then passed it on to your children and the next generation and that type of thing. Because if you really go back and look, even after the end of slavery and before Jim Crow, blacks had businesses and they thrived and this type thing. But how many of those went on? How many of those, were passed down to generation after generation, that type of thing. So, that's one. But I guess our fears stop us from really aspiring to be who God would have us to be in some situations.
Well, I'm glad you brought God into the picture, because I think when you start talking about entrepreneurships, most of the business owners I know that have started business, they're faith walkers. They live by faith every day. Every day is, I'm going to go out here on faith to create something that's not even there.
Yeah, you had to.
And you've got to be able to continue to walk in your purpose and your destiny, even though you might have naysayers all around you.
Sure. Right.
You got to stay focused. Talk a little bit about what you've seen in that area about faith.
Even with Hundley, when Hundley started, it been like never been done. It's not gonna happen. That kind of stuff. So I've seen, I've experienced that with him, and I'm sure he's experienced it more so than me. But but he just kept moving forward. It was kind of a thing where he kept moving forward. It was not a kind of a thing where he was allowing anyone. And I've seen other people go into businesses, but the ones I appreciated were those that started, that had very little education, but they had the technical know-how. I'm talking about people that laid bricks. They were brick masonry firms and carpenters and I had several classmates when I went to school, and their dads were independent businessmen. They basically laid concrete. They laid concrete. I'm sitting up there in awe of the fact that they aspired to make their own money and lay concrete, and they reared that family. They had 7 children, 7, 8 children, and that kind of thing. They made a living out of that business and that type of thing. Didn't have the formal education for that kind of stuff, and probably could have made a lot more money if they had the education to go along with the technical know-how. But they didn't. But they made a living with it, but these same saints were not interested in doing. They went on to college, and forged their own career as far as that's concerned. But just think if they had, they could have gone and taken over that business as far as when that parent got to a certain point, taking over that business, and still had your business on the side or your future on the side, but still had that business. Got some money in to run it, do this type thing. That's where I'm always thinking as far as, okay,
Yes.
I was talking to, just to give you a little background, I was talking to a young lady the other day, and she was telling me what kind of business she was in, and basically the business she's in is she's somewhat independent, but she's not. It's not really hers, but she could spin off from that and do some other things that would make her really an independent business. And so I was encouraging her from that standpoint. And that's one of my things that I'm always looking to encourage young blacks to take a chance. What can you do? I'm a young man right now that I guess I'm somewhat mentoring and getting him, he's got a business started, and I'm basically encouraging him all the time, branch out. You're doing some commercial work, look at government work. Get government contracts in that area. And I think he's gonna get there. He's really, he's really got a good head on his shoulders, got the education, and got the background in the area that he's working. And I think he can get there. But, that's my thing. Early on, when I started this kind of thing, I think that bug hit me. And as I mentioned to you one day when we were talking, I think it's a calling. I think it's God's calling on my life to help blacks get into business, or to enhance their businesses and to advise them or mentor them in the way that they can enhance their business. I just think that's a calling on my life. I've been doing it for 50 years. So, I enjoy doing it. It's never been burdensome. It's been taxing because I've seen failures and that type of thing. But all things fail. Jobs, people get laid off.
Yeah.
But you have to keep pushing.
Right. Last question, because I know when we talk about encouraging young people to be entrepreneurs, and if you own a business, how that business can hire people.
Sure.
You get to hire the people that come in and you are providing that family with resources to feed their kids and educate their kids. And so the importance of how entrepreneurship is more than just your family. Actually, you're impacting the community, and that's what Tommie Batts and Associates has been doing for the last 50 years. That's what you have been doing individually, sowing seeds in other young people, young entrepreneurs, helping them to see the potential, because a lot of times they can't see it. They don't have the experience, the wisdom that you might have had. And sometimes young people, you need to find an older person that's been around the block a couple times and just say, hey, can I buy you lunch? Can I sit down and just share with me some insight? And the African American community is good for that. We will help each other. We will pull up one another along. One thing I love about Huntsville, the black community in Huntsville, is you do have people like yourself all over this community that's willing to play it forward. They help you. You got an idea. They're going to support you. They're going to push you. They're going to guide you. But they're not going to do it for you. But they're going to encourage you and be there for you. And Huntsville is a great place for business entrepreneurship. And it's because of people like Mr. Batts, Tommie Batts, who have the mindset of we're here to help everyone, not just ourselves, and make an impact. Any final words, sir? Would you like?
No, like I say, I congratulate you, Hundley, and the Hundley Batts and Associates Insurance Agency on 50 years. Seems like only yesterday. It was, but it was something that he loved to do. He loved selling insurance. He loved, making the sale. and protecting people and showing them where they need to be protected as far as the acquisition of insurance. And so I think it's been a valuable company as far as Huntsville is concerned. Early on I saw how people that didn't have insurance, that needed insurance, that he was providing for them because they trusted him. They really trusted him as far as fulfilling their insurance needs, and I think Hundley Batts and Associates has been a valuable asset as far as Huntsville is concerned. And you've been definitely valuable as far as this community is concerned in the fact that Hundley always gave back. There was never a time that he didn't give back of his time and his talents and his treasure as far as Huntsville was concerned, through the Chamber of Commerce, through community activism, that type of thing. So it's been a valuable partner, Hundley Batts and the city of Huntsville.
All right, well, great. Thank you so much. I'm going to have to get you back again because as you were talking again, I could ask so many questions. We didn't talk about the fact that Mr. Batts was the first African-American chamber president here in Huntsville. So we're going to get you back, talk about that. We didn't talk about WEP radio station also. There's a lot of things we haven't touched, but we're going to get Tommie back to come back and share. But we wanted to highlight the fact that Hundley Batts and Associates Insurance Agency is celebrating 50 years. The man that you see here sitting next to me was there day one, helped put together the business plan, the model. So he has the knowledge and wisdom. We're just thankful that you're here.